Hey folks, before we dive in, just a quick reminder to follow SkyAlert USA so you can catch this and all our future weather updates. And if you find our reports helpful, please support us by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. We sure do appreciate it. SkyAlert USA Weather Report. Date: January 16th, 2026. Polar vortex unleashes Arctic fury. USA and Canada brace for extended deep freeze. Good evening and welcome to SkyAlert USA, your trusted source for critical weather information across North America. This is your comprehensive weather briefing for Thursday, January 16th, 2026, and we have a significant weather story developing across the United States and Canada that demands your immediate attention. Today's critical weather situation. A powerful Arctic outbreak is gripping much of the eastern two-thirds of the United States and Canada today, driven by a displaced and disrupted polar vortex that has unleashed waves of bitterly cold air from the Arctic regions. This is not just another winter cold snap. Meteorologists are tracking what could be one of the most significant and prolonged cold air intrusions of the 2025 to 2026 winter season. The polar vortex, which normally acts as a reservoir keeping frigid air locked near the North Pole, has undergone a dramatic disruption following a stratospheric warming event detected in mid-January. This disruption has caused the vortex to stretch and split, with a core of intensely cold polar air pushing southward into North America. The result is a direct corridor of Arctic air flooding from western Canada through the central and eastern United States. Current conditions across the nation, well, there's something to behold. Temperatures across the eastern half of the nation are running a good 10 to 20 degrees below normal for mid-January. Cities from Minneapolis to Chicago, Detroit to New York, and Boston to Atlanta are all experiencing the deep chill of winter, and it's biting, folks. Wind chill values have plunged to dangerous levels, with readings between -10 and -20 degrees Fahrenheit reported across the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. The National Weather Service has confirmed that over 170 million Americans are currently facing below-average temperatures. This massive Arctic air mass shows no signs of retreating quickly, with forecast models indicating that cold conditions will persist through the end of January and, honestly, maybe even into early February. Now, in a remarkable demonstration of this Arctic outbreak's reach, freezing temperatures are extending deep into the southeastern United States. Northern Florida is experiencing temperatures in the 20s Fahrenheit, with freeze watches and warnings issued across the Sunshine State. Jacksonville and Daytona Beach are forecast to see freezing temperatures Friday morning, while Tallahassee could drop to 26 degrees, colder than Denver, which sits 1,630 miles to the northwest. That's something you don't see every year. Meanwhile, while the East freezes, a different crisis is unfolding out in Colorado. Red flag warnings are in effect across the Denver metropolitan area and northern Colorado for critical fire weather conditions. Northwest winds are gusting between 35 and 50 miles per hour, with some areas experiencing gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Relative humidity has crashed to between 10 and 18%, creating extremely dangerous fire conditions. Xcel Energy has initiated a public safety power shutoff, affecting approximately 9,000 customers in Larimer and Weld counties, including parts of Fort Collins, Loveland, and Windsor. This precautionary measure aims to prevent power lines from sparking wildfires in the tinder-dry conditions. The red flag warning extends through Friday evening at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And up north, Canada is experiencing typical January winter conditions, with below-normal temperatures dominating most regions. Western and central Canada are serving as the source region for the Arctic air masses pushing into the United States. Average temperatures across Canada range from -7 to -2 degrees Celsius, with significant snowfall continuing across many provinces. The polar vortex phenomenon explained. So understanding what is happening requires examining the upper atmosphere. The polar vortex is a large area of low pressure and cold air that circulates around both of Earth's poles. When the vortex is strong and stable, it keeps the coldest air locked in the polar regions. However, a stratospheric warming event has occurred approximately 30 kilometers above the Earth's surface, causing rapid temperature increases and pressure rises in the stratosphere. This warming has disrupted the normal circulation pattern of the polar vortex, causing it to stretch, elongate, and in some cases split into multiple lobes. One of these lobes has positioned itself directly over Canada, creating what meteorologists call a direct channel for Arctic air to flow southward into the United States. The displaced vortex will keep North America locked in a pattern favorable for repeated cold air outbreaks through the remainder of January. 3-day forecast, Friday through Sunday. Friday, January 17th, 2026. The Arctic assault continues with little relief in sight. The eastern two-thirds of the United States will remain under the grip of well below normal temperatures. A second shot of bitter cold air will slam into the upper Midwest, where high temperatures may struggle to reach just 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Minneapolis and Chicago will see wind chills plummet to between -10 and -20 degrees by Friday evening. A developing coastal low-pressure system bears watching along the East Coast. Forecast models show increasing agreement on a potential winter storm affecting areas from the eastern Carolinas through southern New England this weekend. The exact track and intensity remain under analysis, but the National Weather Prediction Center warns of the possibility of impactful winter weather for portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. In Colorado, red flag warnings remain in effect from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday. Northwest winds will gust between 25 and 70 miles per hour across the northern foothills, with relative humidity dropping to 16%. Extreme fire danger persists, and residents are urged to avoid any outdoor burning or activities that could produce sparks. Lake-effect snow will continue downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario, with snow totals potentially reaching 2 to 4 feet in the most favored locations through the weekend. Snow squalls remain possible across the Great Lakes and interior Northeast, capable of producing sudden whiteout conditions and dangerous travel. Saturday, January 18th, 2026, the deep freeze tightens its grip. Temperatures across the northern tier will remain 10 to 20 degrees below normal, with the core of the coldest air anchored over the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Morning lows could fall to dangerous levels, with parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin potentially seeing temperatures drop below -10 degrees Fahrenheit. The coastal storm system will likely be organizing off the Carolina coast by Saturday morning. If current model trends verify, this system could bring a swath of accumulating snow from the eastern Carolinas northward into Virginia, Maryland, and potentially the Philadelphia to New York corridor. Forecasters emphasize that the westward trend in recent guidance suggests a more significant winter weather event is possible, with snow, sleet, and freezing rain all potential, depending on exact storm track. Gusty winds and snow continue across Wisconsin, Michigan, northern Illinois, and northern Indiana, as the lake effect machine remains active. The eastern shores of Lakes Erie and Ontario will see persistent snow bands, making travel extremely hazardous in affected areas. The west sees a continuation of mild, above-normal temperatures, creating one of the starkest temperature contrasts across the lower 48 in recent memory. Sunday, January 19th, 2026. No significant moderation in the cold pattern is expected. The polar vortex remains positioned over Canada, maintaining the northwesterly flow that funnels Arctic air into the central and eastern United States. High temperatures across the northern plains and upper Midwest will remain well below freezing, with many locations failing to reach double digits. The East Coast storm system, if it develops as currently modeled, will be moving away from the coast by Sunday, but its impacts could linger across interior New England where snow accumulations may be significant. Behind the system, even colder air will filter into the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Lake-effect snow gradually winds down Sunday evening as wind directions shift, but not before additional accumulations occur in the typical snow belts of western and central New York, northwestern Pennsylvania, and northeastern Ohio. Sunday evening and overnight into Monday could mark the coldest period of this Arctic outbreak for many locations, with widespread record-challenging low temperatures possible across the northern tier states. Extended outlook, late January into early February. Looking beyond the 3-day forecast, meteorologists see little evidence of a significant pattern change. Ensemble forecast models from multiple agencies indicate that the cold air supply over western and central Canada will remain robust, with the polar vortex maintaining a configuration favorable for continued Arctic air intrusions into the United States. The Canadian long-range model shows continued cold air support over western Canada and the northern and central United States, extending into February. This represents a notable shift from the milder-than-average start to winter experienced across much of North America in November and December. A potential major shift in the polar vortex could occur late January into early February. Forecast indicators suggest unusual warmth may develop over northern Alaska, which could trigger a significant repositioning of the vortex. Depending on snow cover across southern Canada, the Midwest, and interior Northeast, combined with ice cover extent on the Great Lakes, this could potentially bring some of the coldest air of the entire winter season. Catastrophic weather warnings and alerts. Extreme cold warnings. While no official extreme cold warnings are currently in effect for January 16th, the National Weather Service has issued advisories cautioning residents across the northern tier to prepare for dangerous cold. Wind chill values approaching or exceeding -20 degrees Fahrenheit can cause frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 30 minutes. Winter storm potential. The developing coastal low-pressure system for the weekend carries the potential for a significant winter storm. The National Weather Prediction Center has highlighted the possibility of heavy snow from the eastern Carolinas to southern New England. If the westward model trend continues, major metropolitan areas including Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and Boston could see accumulating snow. Residents should monitor forecast updates closely as storm details come into focus. Fire weather emergency. Critical fire weather conditions across Colorado represent an immediate threat. The combination of sustained winds, powerful gusts, extremely low humidity, and dry fuels creates a recipe for rapid fire spread. Any fire ignition could quickly become uncontrollable. Stage 1 fire restrictions are automatically in effect across Jefferson County and other jurisdictions under red flag warnings. All outdoor burning is prohibited, and residents should avoid activities involving sparks, including using equipment, smoking outdoors, or any open flames. Lake effect snow warnings. Lake effect snow warnings remain in effect for areas downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario through at least Thursday morning, with the potential for extensions. Snowfall rates could exceed 2 inches per hour in the most intense bands, creating impossible travel conditions. Localized whiteouts are likely, and travelers should avoid affected areas if possible. Travel impacts and safety considerations. Air travel disruptions are likely across the eastern United States as the cold air mass settles in. De-icing operations will slow aircraft turnaround times, and snow across the Great Lakes and potential East Coast winter storm could lead to flight cancellations and delays. Travelers should check flight status before heading to airports and allow extra time. Road travel will be treacherous in multiple regions. Lake effect snow creates dangerous driving conditions, with sudden visibility drops to near zero. The potential coastal storm could make roads extremely hazardous across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast if significant snow develops. In Colorado, high winds create dangerous conditions for high-profile vehicles, and blowing dust on the plains reduces visibility. The extreme cold poses direct health risks. Frostbite and hypothermia can develop rapidly in exposed individuals. The elderly, very young, and those with medical conditions are particularly vulnerable. Ensure homes are adequately heated, check on vulnerable neighbors, and limit time outdoors. Dress in layers, cover all exposed skin, and recognize the signs of cold-related illness. Infrastructure concerns, they're really coming to the forefront right now. Power grids, well, they're facing increased stress as heating demand surges across the cold regions. Now, while no widespread power emergency has been declared just yet, utility companies are, monitoring systems closely. The planned power shutoffs in northern Colorado, for example, they really demonstrate the precautionary measures being taken to prevent catastrophic wildfires. Frozen pipes, those become a significant concern when temperatures remain well below freezing for extended periods. So folks, residents should keep homes heated to at least 55 degrees Fahrenheit, even when you're away. Let faucets drip overnight in extreme cold, and know where your water shutoff valves are located in case pipes burst. The prolonged cold, it can stress water treatment facilities, natural gas distribution systems, and other critical infrastructure. And for those of you dependent on propane heating, make sure you've got adequate supplies, since delivery delays can occur during these sustained cold periods. Weather pattern analysis. The atmospheric setup driving this extended cold pattern centers on the position and strength of the jet stream. A deep southward dip in the jet stream over the Great Lakes region acts as a conveyor belt, repeatedly drawing Arctic air masses southward. This pattern is reinforced by strong high pressure over Greenland, creating what meteorologists call a blocking pattern that prevents the normal west to east progression of weather systems. The stratospheric warming event that disrupted the polar vortex occurred in the mid-stratosphere, approximately 30 kilometers above Earth's surface. While this may seem disconnected from surface weather, the effects propagate downward over time. The warming slows the circumpolar winds, allowing the vortex to deform and stretch. These stretched lobes of the vortex bring their associated cold air masses with them as they move. Forecast models show the lower stratosphere pressure anomalies will continue favoring cold air transport into North America through late January. The European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts and American GFS model both depict a persistent cold pattern, though they differ in specific storm details and temperature departures. Regional impacts in detail. Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Beyond the immediate cold, the developing coastal storm system represents the next major weather story for this region. Computer models have trended westward with the storm track, increasing snow potential for major cities. The exact rain-snow line will be critical. A shift of 50 miles could mean the difference between rain and significant snow for metropolitan areas. Freezing rain is possible across interior locations where cold air remains stubborn. Southeast. The Arctic air penetrating this far south is relatively rare for mid-January. Agricultural interests face potential damage to cold-sensitive crops. Citrus growers in northern Florida may need to implement protective measures. Pipes in homes not constructed for extreme cold could be vulnerable. Many southeastern communities lack the snow removal equipment common in northern states, so even modest snow accumulations can cause significant disruptions. Midwest and Great Lakes. This region sits at ground zero for the prolonged cold outbreak. Multiple rounds of Arctic air, separated by brief moderation periods, will maintain below normal temperatures through month's end. Lake effect snow continues to be a major concern, particularly for areas downwind of Lakes Erie and Ontario, where multi-foot snow totals are accumulating. The extreme cold will test infrastructure and human endurance. Northern Plains. Some of the coldest air relative to normal will focus over this region. Wind chills well below zero will be common, with dangerous levels possible during overnight hours. Rural areas face particular challenges, as livestock must be protected, and remote locations can become isolated during severe weather. The agricultural sector closely monitors these patterns for implications on winter wheat and soil conditions. South and Gulf Coast. While not as severely impacted as northern areas, below normal temperatures will affect this region as well. Nighttime lows dipping into the 30s and 20s will require heating for most residents. Coastal areas may see impacts on marine interests if water temperatures drop significantly. Mountain West and Rockies Colorado faces dual threats: the red flag fire danger today and Friday, followed by potential winter weather as systems move through. The dramatic fire weather event showcases the complexities of winter weather in the region, where low humidity and strong downslope winds create fire danger even in January. Mountain passes face dangerous conditions from high winds, with gusts potentially exceeding 100 miles per hour on exposed ridges. Pacific Northwest and California. While recent atmospheric river events brought flooding rain and heavy mountain snow to Northern California earlier in January, current conditions are quieter. Above normal temperatures persist across much of the West, creating the sharp temperature gradient with the East. This pattern may shift as we move into late January, but for now, the West enjoys relatively benign conditions compared to the eastern two-thirds of the nation. Canada. From coast to coast, Canada experiences typical winter conditions with heavy snowfall and cold temperatures dominating most regions. The prairie provinces serve as the source region for Arctic air masses affecting the United States. Eastern Canada joins in the cold pattern, with temperatures well below freezing and periodic snow events. Lake-effect snow off the Great Lakes also impacts southern Ontario, adding to already significant snowpack. Preparedness recommendations. Given the extended cold pattern ahead, residents across affected areas should take the following preparedness steps. For your home, ensure heating systems are functioning properly and have backup heating sources available. Keep emergency supplies including flashlights, batteries, non-perishable food, and water. Protect pipes by insulating exposed plumbing and keeping cabinet doors open under sinks to allow warm air circulation. Have a plan for where to go if power is lost for an extended period. For travel, build a winter emergency kit for vehicles including blankets, flashlight, batteries, first aid supplies, snacks, water, phone chargers, and tools. Keep gas tanks at least half full to prevent fuel line freezing. Check weather and road conditions before traveling, and consider postponing non-essential trips during severe weather. Tell someone your travel route and expected arrival time. For health, dress in layers when going outdoors. Cover all exposed skin during extreme cold. Limit outdoor exposure during dangerous wind chill conditions. Recognize frostbite symptoms including numbness, white or grayish skin, and firm or waxy skin. Watch for hypothermia signs such as shivering, confusion, slurred speech, and drowsiness. Seek medical attention immediately if these symptoms appear. For fire safety in Colorado, absolutely no outdoor burning during red flag warnings, no smoking outdoors, or use of outdoor fireplaces or fire pits. Ensure vehicle chains or cables do not drag on pavement creating sparks. Park vehicles off dry grass. Have defensible space around homes cleared of combustible materials. Know evacuation routes and have go bags prepared. Conclusion and continued monitoring. This is a significant and potentially historic weather pattern for mid to late January. The polar vortex disruption has unleashed Arctic forces across North America, with impacts ranging from dangerous cold to fire weather emergencies to potential winter storms. The pattern shows remarkable persistence in forecast models, suggesting cold conditions will dominate through month's end. At SkyAlert USA, we will continue monitoring this evolving situation around the clock. Weather conditions can change rapidly, and new information becomes available with each model update. We urge all viewers to stay informed through official National Weather Service forecasts for your area, heed all warnings and advisories, and take appropriate precautions to protect life and property. The combination of extreme cold, dangerous wind chills, heavy lake-effect snow, potential East Coast winter storm, and critical fire weather in Colorado represents a multifaceted weather threat requiring vigilance and preparation. This is not the time for complacency. Winter is showing its full force across North America. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay tuned to SkyAlert USA for the latest weather updates as this major weather pattern continues to unfold. We are your eyes in the sky, bringing you the information you need to make informed decisions about your safety and plans. This has been your comprehensive weather briefing for Thursday, January 16th, 2026. Remember, when severe weather threatens, SkyAlert USA